SQL explained simply means understanding how people ask questions from databases without making it feel complicated. Welcome to QuickBytes Education. Today's QuickByte is all about SQL for data science beginners, explained simply, quickly, and clearly. Let's get started. So, what is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is a language used to communicate with databases. In simple terms, SQL helps you ask questions about data. For example, instead of manually scrolling through thousands of rows in a spreadsheet, you can use SQL to quickly find the exact information you need. You can ask things like, which customers spent the most money? How many orders happened last month? Which products sold the best? What was the average test score? Or, which users signed up but never made a purchase? That is why SQL is such an important skill in data science and data analytics. Before SQL makes sense, let's quickly explain databases. A database is a place where data is stored and organized. Many databases store data in tables. A table looks a lot like a spreadsheet. It has rows and columns. Each row is usually one record. Each column is one piece of information about that record. For example, a customer table might have columns for customer ID, name, email, city, and sign-up date. An orders table might have columns for order ID, customer ID, product name, price, and order date. SQL helps you work with those tables. Now, why does SQL matter? Because most real-world data is stored in databases. Businesses, apps, websites, schools, hospitals, banks, and tech companies all use databases to store information. A data analyst might use SQL to create reports. A data scientist might use SQL to collect data before building a machine learning model. A business team might use SQL results to understand sales, customers, or performance. So, if you want to work in data science, data analytics, business intelligence, machine learning, or computer science, SQL is one of the best skills to learn early. So, what can SQL actually do? SQL can select data. That means choosing the columns you want to see. SQL can filter data. That means only showing rows that match certain conditions. SQL can sort data. That means arranging results from highest to lowest, newest to oldest, or alphabetically. SQL can group data. That means summarizing information by category. And SQL can join tables. That means combining related data from different tables. Let's make that simple. Imagine a store has one table for customers and another table for orders. The customer table tells you who the customer is. The orders table tells you what they bought. SQL can connect those tables so you can answer a question like, which customers spent the most money? That is the power of SQL. Now let's talk about a few common SQL commands beginners should know. Select is used to choose the data you want. From tells SQL which table to use. Where filters the results. Order by sorts the results. Group by groups rows together, and join combines data from multiple tables. So a very basic SQL question might sound like, show me the names of customers from Atlanta, or show me the top selling products this month. Even though SQL has its own rules, the main idea is simple. You are asking the database a question. Now, how is SQL used in data science? Data scientists often need data before they can analyze it or build models, and that data is usually stored in databases. So a data scientist may use SQL to pull customer records, product data, transaction history, website activity, or user behavior. Then they might use Python, pandas, statistics, or machine learning to continue the analysis. So SQL is often one of the first steps in the data science workflow. You use SQL to get the data. Then you use other tools to clean, analyze, visualize, and model it. That is why SQL for data science beginners is so important. It helps you access the data you need. Now you might be wondering, why not just use Excel or Google Sheets? Spreadsheets are great for beginners and smaller data sets. But databases are better when the data gets larger, more connected, or updated often. For example, a spreadsheet might work fine for 500 rows. But if a company has millions of customer records and thousands of daily transactions, a database is usually a better option. SQL lets you work with that data faster and more reliably. So spreadsheets are useful, but SQL helps you work with real-world data systems. So why should beginners learn SQL? Because SQL is practical. You can use it in many careers. Data analysts use SQL. Data scientists use SQL. Business analysts use SQL. Software developers use SQL. Product managers, marketers, and finance teams may also use SQL to answer business questions. And compared to many programming languages, SQL can be beginner-friendly because the commands are based on readable words like select, from, where, and order by. You do not need to learn everything at once. Start with simple questions, then learn how to filter, sort, group, and join data. Here is a simple beginner roadmap. First, learn what databases, tables, rows, and columns are. Second, practice select and from. Third, learn where to filter data. Fourth, learn order by to sort results. Fifth, learn group by to summarize data. Sixth, learn joins to combine tables. Then practice with real sample data sets. You can use free SQL practice websites, public data sets, or small projects. For example, try answering questions about movie ratings, sales data, sports stats, school records, or customer orders. The best way to learn SQL is to ask a question and write a query to answer it. So let's recap. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. SQL is used to communicate with databases. Databases often store data in tables with rows and columns. SQL helps you select, filter, sort, group, and combine data. SQL is important for data science because it helps you access real-world data before analysis or machine learning. And beginners can start by learning select, from, where, order by, group by, and join. In one sentence, SQL is the language that helps you ask questions from databases and turn stored data into useful answers. Like, subscribe, and keep building your knowledge with QuickBytes Education, one QuickByte at a time.